Crosstalk, the unintentional transfer of signals between communication channels, a casual conversation.
Hello world, this is Video Game Crosstalk, episode 025, the monthly podcast of gamers talking about tech, science, and whatever else comes to mind. I'm your host, Anthony Rossi, and with me this episode is host from Stories from a Bar podcast, Chris Osborne.
That's me! Yay!
Oh, so this is kind of like take two.
This is
or part two.
Part two of part one. Of the Stories from a Bar episode we just recorded.
Like
Father's Day themed.
Yes, the Father's Day episode of Stories from a Bar. The recording just concluded less than 5 minutes ago.
Yes.
Just enough time.
Let me put it this way. If you're into dad jokes, you're going to want to check that out.
It is going to be fantastic. What episode number is this?
It's only episode 4.
Okay, so episode 4 of Stories from a Bar. And really quick, what's your socials?
Yes.
Hit the socials.
Yes. You can find Stories from a Bar certainly on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at StoriesFAB, Fab.
Stories Fab.
Stories Fab, which I did not even take into consideration when I named it. I wasn't even thinking that when I came up with the
when you followed me on that,
it.
I'm looking, I'm like, Stories, what the hell? Oh, from a bar.
That worked out so perfectly.
Fabulous Stories from a Bar.
And you can, of course, follow myself on Facebook or Twitter at CS Osborne 83. That's it. I don't have an actual website, so certainly go check out the Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah. All right, so episode 025, we are doing a special edition podcast right now, being that E3 just concluded.
It did.
This week.
I was super pumped up for it.
All sorts of fun stuff.
I wasn't disappointed.
Excellent.
I have all kinds of handwritten notes here.
And I've got like an entire Word document in front of me right now. So, like I said, this is a special edition podcast, kind of like what I did for N7 Day back when, I cared about Mass Effect.
See, I never played Mass Effect, so it didn't bother me either way.
Oh, man.
I got to enjoy the stories of listening to you and another co-worker who was less enthused about the last Mass Effect game. It's literally just pictures and a book on the screen.
It's so infuriating. So, again, we're doing a little something like that.
Which they're supposed to just be picking that up in novel form? Is that
right, yeah. They're in novels and other forms that are not DLC expansions or continuation of the story.
So I don't really see myself getting too into it.
No,
that I'm against reading. Let me put that out there.
Well, true.
Because that's how that sounded, I think.
Well, again, what we're here for right now is to go over E3 and everything that came out. And once again, the audio quality this time, it's not because I jacked anything up. It is... I'm hoping. I don't have any...
I guess you'll find out once we're done.
No, we're good. Audacity's telling me microphone blew snowball.
Okay.
So we're actually getting it from the actual microphone this time around.
We're doing a on location.
Yeah, we are at Fort Orange Brewing in Albany, New York.
We are in Albany.
So, like I said, we just got done recording a Stories from a Bar episode. So clearly, we had to be at a bar.
Yes. And this place is delightful. It's got the nice warehouse brewery feel.
There's a lot of breweries popping up around here.
There is. Albany's really becoming a hotbed for it. And what's cool is they're all putting out quality products.
They really are.
None of them are...
This is good stuff.
None of them are going out of business.
Right now I'm drinking Whistleblower, their red IPA.
I went with the Pearl Street IPA, which is actually my favorite that I've had here.
Pearl Street being one of the main streets in downtown Albany.
Yes, this place is actually, all the names for their beers and the actual brewery itself is inspired by Albany landmarks and things.
Yes, things. Things and such.
Yes.
So, getting back to it, E3. Just completed several days worth of announcements and trailers and previews and gameplays and all sorts of fun stuff. So let's get this party started.
What are we starting with?
The short list.
Okay.
EA Play.
Ooh, I didn't watch it. I did not watch it. I had no interest. I forgot it was even on.
So I did watch the EA. but I skipped over everything that was
So,
like EA Sports,
I was just gonna say,
which is like half of it.
I was just gonna say, enlighten me. Was there anything that was not a sports game
Yes,
that I should be aware of?
three little items. Unravel 2.
I saw the name. What was it?
Okay, so Unravel is this very cute, very imaginative, very beautiful, actually. It was a one-player game, side-scroller. You traveled around as this little doll of yarn, but you could use your yarn as like a rope and lasso.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little side-scrolling puzzler.
Yep.
Well,
now I remember.
And now it's 2-player.
Okay.
And it looks fantastic. Very well done puzzles.
Yep.
You need 2 people to work coordinatingly
It's nice
and
to
such.
have. Yeah, you need. I always enjoy seeing a good co-op game.
Couch co-op
Yeah.
is something that seems to be coming back.
Yeah.
There's been a few others. We'll get into another one that advertised 3-player couch co-op later on.
Okay.
So Unravel 2, Sea of Solitude
Sea of Solitude, I saw.
is another indie title, which looks interesting. It's
Just weird to think of EA and indie titles together.
Yeah, well, they're doing what every large company does, and that's buying up the smaller studios and/or
okay.
companies.
Because they can't come up with original ideas themselves.
Well, there's advantages. I know. Yeah, but here's the thing.
Well,
with the
EA's moneymaker is always going to be FIFA and Madden.
Oh, good
anyway,
God,
so
yes.
They have money to blow on. Yeah.
That and Battlefront, the Star Wars PvP games.
Okay, yeah.
So those are just going to print money for them. And with these indie studios...
Must be nice.
Yeah, I know. With the indie studios will take more risks. They'll explore more artistic directions. And they'll come up with purely original content. But when they are acquired by larger companies, which the intent is they now have access to the resources that are afforded to them by the larger company, such as Microsoft or EA, which they clearly have plenty of resources.
Yes.
The hope is, don't screw it up. Don't acquire a smaller studio or a smaller company, then introduce multiple layers of bureaucracy to the point where it becomes ineffectual.
Yep.
That is what you need to do.
Yeah.
So the 2 of them, Unravel 2 and Sea of Solitude, look really cool. Really interesting story-driven games. And of course, their main push right now is the replacement for Mass Effect, and that's Anthem.
Anthem, yes.
This looks like a beautiful, deep, amazing game that I absolutely will not be playing. And I need to, because of time.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. There are a few games in here where I'm going to give like the same review for, where these things look amazing. They look awesome. I'm playing Destiny right now.
Yep. You have a 1.5-year-old at home, so
That's the thing.
I have 2 dogs, which take up an annoying amount of time, but
You think
I love
that's
them
annoying?
all the same. But I'm sure nothing like an actual small human.
Yeah, making sure he doesn't poke stuff into electrical outlets and
You don't just give him a fork and say, "Go play."
and he likes to pet today. Oh, here's your daily. Oh, he gave one of our dogs a hug.
Did the dog allow it?
Yes,
Okay.
because it was Kinsey, not Sophie. Kinsey allowed it.
Which is the one that drooled all over me when I was
That was probably Sophie.
Okay, yeah.
Kinsey is the one that's aggressively affectionate.
I love that term.
Isn't it a great term?
In the wrong scenario, that's arrestable.
So Anthem is going to be awesome. They announced
It
last
certainly
year.
looks cool.
Yeah. So you play as like a single pilot, but you have access to multiple mech suits that are called javelins. And they revealed a little bit more of what the gameplay is going to look like, a little bit more of the plot and the villain,
Yep.
the antagonist, or the anthem of life or something like
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna have
It
to
looks
go back
great.
and I'm gonna end up rewatching a bunch of these, I'm sure.
Yeah. But the thing is, there's a bunch of different, and this can go for like the entirety of E3 and just the games scene right now, is there are a lot of shared world stuff that's coming out.
That's the main focus for a lot of companies. It's a moneymaker. If you do it right, it can be your cash cow.
Which again, Destiny did so goddamn well. They really did. They brought an MMO style game.
It's a little loud because we are
wait.
in a warehouse area.
Again, we are on location. We're going to leave that in because this is what happens. when
Motorcycles go by. Motorcycles are out in the world. They're real things. You got to deal with them.
Look at that in the waveform.
You can see the waveform. Anthony's really going to test his audacity ability with this one.
Right. We'll see what happens. But basically, Destiny did it so well, and they were able to bring a first-person shooter, casual MMO into existence. and they make it work. So that's where Anthem is at right now. I don't want to say they're following on the coattails of, but between that and a few others, which we will probably be discussing later on.
Oh, yes.
It seems to be the next push. Between that and Battle Royale games.
Yeah, the Battle Royale thing's blowing up, and honestly, I hate it. I have no interest. Well, I hate's a strong word. I just don't have interest in it.
Likewise, because I'm more of a very deep lore dive into whatever the game is.
Like,
a single-player experience. That's just the way I game. So the idea of something that is completely PvP.
I'm more of a single-player guy, and I don't...
I mean, I get it.
I don't have a lot of games that have the option to team up with parties and stuff, honestly, because it's just doesn't float my boat.
Man, it's just your thing.
Not that I, of course, don't think they don't look cool.
Yeah, you should probably look into some of the indie titles.
We'll talk about Bethesda in a little bit.
Okay. Actually, Bethesda's next on my list.
Oh, okay.
So
Perfect.
there you go.
Perfect timing. I did not see this list. I was
so
putting that out.
I got my little list over here. Tell you what, I'm going to blow this up a little bit. Boom.
And I mentioned Bethesda mainly because of what was their focus point, Fallout 76.
Yes.
I've not played a Fallout game. Honestly, I don't know. I'm like, well, yeah, they look all right. Never really caught my appeal enough to try them. But for some reason, Fallout 76, after watching the conference, I'm like,
really?
Yeah, caught my attention. I thought that could be fun.
Fallout is one of those games.
And of course, it's their first multiplayer version of it, really.
Yes, it is definitely their first multiplayer version of it. They have been getting a lot of practice with their MMOs with Elder Scrolls Online. So it just kind of makes sense that they take their other...
Speaking of cash cows.
Yeah,
sure.
Hey. Which, by the way, during the Bethesda conference, they had
Keegan-Michael Key.
There it is.
Yes.
Where he did his little mock advertisement where we have Skyrim on every platform.
That was hilarious.
Including the Samsung...
Alexa. It was Amazon's Alexa.
They also had the Motorola pager, the Samsung smart refrigerator.
The refrigerator one cracked me up at the end. It was a good way to end it when the ice drops. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But that Alexa thing is a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have an Alexa to try it. But
So, anyway, the Bethesda, some of the things that I have here, Doom Eternal. And
I didn't play the first Doom. But I would love to play Doom VR.
Oh, my God.
I don't have a VR, though.
Yeah, it was a Doom VFR because of course it's Doom, so you got to drop the F-bomb in the middle of everything.
Here's a marketing idea for Bethesda when they come out with Doom Eternal: package it with a package of underwear. When they do a VR version, I think it should come with 1 or 2 clean pairs.
Just because.
Just because of boxers, briefs. Do different versions of with briefs,
or like a redeemable coupon or something to send it to like Hanes
50% off of your next package of Hanes.
It's all you, Bethesda. It's all you.
It's been a rough week. I did try to switch to boxer briefs this week. Totally aside. It was a little too tight in the grundle area. I didn't care for it. Okay. So now I'm back to regular boxers.
All right.
That's out of nowhere. But.
So that's Doom Eternal, apparently. Another big one, again, Fallout 76. So what do you want to say about Fallout 76?
I don't... It's the first one I've seen. Not that I know the games have always been rated highly. I don't know. Something about it just intrigued me more than previous ones.
Interesting.
First off, I'm still singing the freaking John Denver song that they had in the preview, right? West Virginia. The idea of finding nuclear codes and blowing stuff up.
Yeah. That's a beautiful and fitting twist that they put into the game.
Let me put it like the highest compliment I think I can give a game when I'm watching previews for sequels is like, that looks so fantastic. I want to go back and play the others or look into downloading them. And after I watched that, I went back to see if Fallout 4 was on sale.
No, it's just not on sale.
It's not on sale at the moment, but I'm sure
it's definitely for sale, but not on sale.
And I'm sure it will be at some point again.
Yeah, when I pre-ordered Fallout 4, and I actually got a copy or a download code for Fallout 3 for that.
Have you used that? Because I'll be happy to use that.
Okay, 2 things. First, I played the crap out of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. Loved them both. Other thing, it's for the Xbox.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not going to help me.
So, Fallout 76 is going to be...
Besides the fact that they said it's 4 times the size of Fallout 4.
Which is freaking huge.
Which, exactly, I haven't played, but I have heard you talk about it. I've played other Bethesda games and been like, I can't believe I haven't discovered everything. But just listening to you talk about Fallout 4, I'm like, I already knew it was large.
Fallout is one of those games where you can do the deep lore dives into, because there's so much going on between all the vaults and all the characters, and if you actually get into proper conversations with the NPCs, you can find out stuff that it's more than just superficial. Whatever their gimmick is, there's definitely more going on the deeper you go into the conversations.
Yeah.
So Fallout 6 was definitely a big announcement. Fallout Shelter is coming to the Switch, which...
I have a Switch, you do not. I love the Switch.
Good.
Let me put it... I mean, Nintendo's really turned the company around from the Wii U, for sure.
Yeah, that was total disaster, but that doesn't need to be expounded upon.
No. Clearly, they've started putting out more indie games, more of giving people options, except for, of course, an eShop.
Well, which I'm sure no one's told them that yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been completely silent on the...
Yeah, I'm sure they have no idea that people are unhappy about that. But, I love the Switch. I haven't checked out the Shelter, though, but it's something I'm going to look into. For one thing, it's free.
Well, yeah, start with that.
Yeah. They also said it was coming to the PS4, though.
Yes, I played it on mobile for a while.
Okay.
It's fun. It's basically a vault simulator.
Yeah.
You build different rooms and such in this underground vault, and you send people out on quests, and they keep adding more and more to it. So I haven't played it in like a year or so, but I mean, it came out several years ago.
I didn't realize how long it had been out, yeah.
Is it several years ago?
It's been a few years.
My mind's a blur with a 1-year-old. So...
And the 3 beers.
Yeah, well, there's that too. But I remember the E3 that they announced it. They announced it by saying, yes, we have this game. It's on mobile. You create your own vault, and it's available now.
Yep.
So, Fallout Shelter coming to Switch. A few Elder Scrolls announcements. But first, Starfield.
Which... Does anybody know anything about this game other than the 20-second space clip they had?
I know zero about this game.
Too.
But I guess that's the point of teasers.
I can't argue with that. They said it was their first officially new franchise in 25 years.
Which is a long time.
Which is mind-boggling considering the amount of games they come out with.
Continuously.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's basically just like a space-long pan, I guess I'll call it.
I was certainly intrigued.
Oh yeah, definitely intrigued. And if it's... Bethesda's got quite the reputation for quality.
I have not played any of their games I don't thoroughly enjoy.
Right. And to wrap up their E3 presser, they came out with one additional teaser.
Ooh, super excited.
Elder Scrolls 6.
I was super excited until I read the follow-up headline saying they're not even really in production on it yet. It's more planning. And I'm like, so it's going to be another 10 years.
Give or take.
Like if you watch the 20-second preview, the footage almost looks just like a helicopter holding a camera.
Basically, it looks like documentary.
It looks
documentary
super
footage.
Clear documentary footage.
And then it just says Elder Scrolls 6.
I was sure they were going to announce a remake of Skyrim for PlayStation 5
or something
before they announced that. And I mean, if you think about it, you don't want to come out. I guess if you're them, you can't come out with that too early because then you're cannibalizing your own market.
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls Online is still a cash cow for them. They're still coming out with DLC for it. Yeah. What did they announce for it? They announced something. A summer set in Wolf Hunter.
Yes. So they keep coming out with more content for Elder Scrolls Online. And yeah, if you got people who are huge fans of the Elder Scrolls series and you have this persistent world going on, if you release additional Elder Scrolls content, you're cannibalizing your own audience.
Which...
From a business standpoint, it makes sense not to release anything new.
And from someone that doesn't play Elder Scrolls Online, I just want freaking Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, so it's not going to be a complete cannibalization, but you're definitely...
It's hard to find that balance.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be overlap.
One of the jokes I thoroughly enjoyed from the Bethesda conference is when... I don't remember his name, of course.
Probably Todd Howard.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even Todd. It was the guy that came out and started the conference, making the joke about Walmart Canada.
Because Walmart can't keep a secret.
So Walmart can't keep a secret when they accidentally put up the pre-order info for Rage 2 too early.
Oh my God, why is that not in my notes?
Ooh, look at this. I was more prepared than you were.
Oh my God. Moving on. Prey 2 or excuse me, Rage 2. I'm looking at my other notes. Rage
2.
2 with the intro song by Andrew WK.
Yes, which the world needs more Andrew WKs out there.
It really does.
He's a great guy.
His latest album is really good.
And for anyone who doesn't know, he does the voice. If you watch the trailer for it, there's part where like a trailer within a commercial within the trailer where they put that little
Like
mutant head
yeah.
singing guy on the wall, kind of like one of those singing fish that you would walk by and want to destroy. Andrew WK does the voice for that. That's why he's there.
That is so great when you're able to do things like that as a celebrity. But Rage 2 just looks like absolute
It looks like
chaos.
carnage.
Yeah, it is just pure carnage through
And
and
honestly, I don't know anything about a Rage 1.
through. Oh, that came out a while ago. Ooh, fun fact here. Rage 1 came out around the same time as the first Borderlands.
Oh, wow, it's that old.
That old. And Gearbox Software actually changed the art style of Borderlands to the cell shading that it is today because the two worlds were very similar, the post-apocalyptic Mad Max kind of thing. So if you find an old trailer for Borderlands, the aesthetic looks very similar to Rage. And they actually made the decision to switch it up to the cell shading that is now the hallmark, if you will, of the Borderlands series. And I learned about this a few years back at one of the Albany Comic Cons, and I was talking to Vicarious Visions actually had a table there, and I was talking to him about that, and he said, yeah, if you look it up, go check it out. It was a business decision to switch up the art style.
Okay.
And if you're able to find it, they are on YouTube, but the art style and aesthetic of Borderlands originally was very similar to the realism of Rage.
I did not know that, no.
Little tidbit for you there.
Yes.
So thank you for bringing that up. Man, my notes are terrible.
Hey, it's your podcast, but I'll do the work. That's fine.
All right, moving on to Ubisoft. So clearly they're coming out with another Just Dance game because of course they are.
I did not watch most of these conferences live. I went back and rewatched them.
Oh,
and
likewise.
Of course, that was one of the parts I skipped over. I just keep hitting the fast forward button to get something interesting.
Yeah, it's they're coming out with a Just Dance game. That's all you need to know.
That's what Ubisoft does.
Right. Beyond Good and Evil 2.
You remember how a few minutes ago I said the biggest compliment I can give a game is it makes me want to go back and check out the old one?
Indeed.
I want to do that with Beyond Good and Evil now.
Likewise.
And I went back to look for it in the PlayStation Store, and I actually did not see it.
I wouldn't be surprised because some of the images that I found on it, this game came out a while ago.
I knew it certainly wasn't a recent game.
Right.
By recent, I mean within the last 5 years.
I did try to find like a summary of Good and Evil, and I was able to find some of the videos where what some people will do, they'll play the game, record their entire playthrough, and then splice together all the cinematics into like a single movie. Okay. So I was able to find that.
Yes.
So
what was another cool aspect they were doing with Beyond Good and Evil 2 was they were teaming up with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and his company.
They've got a few celebrity collaborations going on.
Letting fans actually create different types of art basically to be incorporated in the game.
Yeah. That looks awesome.
I'm like, as a fan of a game, you can't be more pumped up for something.
No, you really can't. BioWare has done that with Dragon Age and Mass Effect, where they had a little contest where here's a script. Let's see if you can voice one of the passerby NPCs.
Ooh, I'd love to be a voice.
Yeah, just like here's a short script, send it in, and then if you win their contest, you get shipped out to one of their recording studios and do the voice work for an NPC.
How fun would that be?
It's amazing. Of course, I threw my hand to the ring, and clearly I didn't get it.
No.
But Beyond Good and Evil 2.
See, I enjoyed the Ubisoft conference. My biggest, I'll say, pet peeve with it, and it wasn't even really a pet peeve, is I couldn't understand the accents on most of the announcers.
You dirty American.
And I don't mean that
American.
to sound mean. They're all French-Canadian.
Right.
Which, for some reason, is even harder to understand than people from actual France.
For some odd reason. Okay, so what else we got going on? They had more information for Starlink, which I think is awesome as a concept, but man, that sounds like...
Star Fox is in it, and that's what's going to sell it.
Yes.
That's what's going to pull some people in at the very least.
Right. It still looks really cool, though. Trials Rising. Sorry,
There was, of
that's
course,
not in my wheelhouse.
there was Skull and Bones, that big pirate game, which seems like the most detail-oriented warship game type I've seen.
Yeah.
But I'm not into naval warfare like that. It just
There-
doesn't appeal to me.
Oh yeah, and it's different strokes for different folks, but it really does seem like
I was
that-
impressed with the detail in the trailer. And
Oh yeah,
how involved it actually was, of course.
clearly they're not going to skimp on detail. A lot of Ubisoft games are very detail heavy, as you can see with. Well, we'll get to that game later on. Of course, they closed with it, but yes,
I know what you're talking. I know where you're going with that.
Skull and Bones is basically Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but they just took the naval combat and just made an entire game out of it.
Of the naval combat,
Yeah. Which, hey, I thoroughly enjoyed. For a while, people were.
I know
doing
someone
this
we
thing.
worked with that will.
Yeah, indeed. There was, for a while after AC4 came out, there was some stuff floating around on Twitter. It was just like the question of the day, apparently, of what games had the best soundtracks, and I was like, Black Flag. Because all of the audio that you hear, or the music that you hear.
It's fun to sing pirate music.
It is.
Sober or not, it's fun to sing. You get in a large group.
You really do. That's the
And
proper way to do it.
It's the proper way to sing pirate music, and it's wonderfully delightful.
Actually,
It can put a
oddly-
smile on your face.
Yeah, you're just like crashing over waves and yo ho ho.
Makes you want to go sailing.
Mario and Rabbids DLC, Donkey Kong Adventure.
I enjoyed Mario and Rabbids, but I'm done with the game. I don't like DLC is a great thing these days, if it's the right kind of DLC. I don't go back once I finish a game and DLC comes out at some point way down the line. I don't know if I think only with one exception, which was The Witcher 3, did I go back and get the
Okay.
DLC and go back into the game.
Gotcha.
Not
Yeah.
to say the DLC probably isn't good.
It's just once you're done with the game, you're kind of
There's
done
just
with it.
so much stuff to play that it's hard
Right.
to go back just for some
And
DLC.
that's something I've been talking about a lot on the podcast. There are plenty of games where Anthem, for instance, like within this very episode, game looks amazing, game looks awesome. I will never play it because I just simply do not have the time. Transference, a horror game,
That looked pretty intense.
and
That was
another
with Elijah Wood.
Right, another celebrity backing. Elijah Wood's doing this one.
He was involved in the making.
They announced this last year, and it looked terrifying.
And this is another game that they should package with new underwear.
Just throw a little coupon code in there for
Yeah.
an online order through Amazon or
The
something like
VR
that.
version.
Yeah.
I think it is only VR, so it could be.
The Crew 2, personally, don't care.
No, don't even
Sorry.
remember it.
And
You forgot about the Division 2, which
Oh.
I don't even want to talk so much about the game as the guy that introduced
there
it.
it is. It's up higher on my
There
notes
you go.
list.
I mean, the trailer for I didn't play the Division 1. Not really my bag. Division 2, I mean, the trailer looks great. Gameplay
Yes.
looks great.
And it's gonna be a great game.
I was super distracted by the gentleman, I will say, presenting the game,
Okay.
as it looked like he was wearing 2/3 of a Canadian tuxedo. And by that, I mean a denim button-down shirt with a denim jacket over it. But
Well, they are French Canadian.
they are French Canadian, so I was super thrown off by this, and it's all I could think about for almost the rest of the Ubisoft conference.
Hey,
he
dress
wasn't
them up.
wearing he wasn't wearing jeans though. He was wearing, it looked like track pants.
Also like track pants, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like 2/3 of the Canadian tuxedo. Which, side note, a gentleman we work with,
Yes.
married a Canadian, and I believed I presented the idea of the Canadian tuxedo to him, and he did not know it.
What?
I haven't looked at him the same way since.
His wife must know it. His wife is Canadian.
I'm super curious.
Yeah. Fun story about that.
Canadian tuxedo.
We we actually went to go see Nightwish here in Albany.
Yep.
And we all met up at City Beer Hall. Fantastic place. Had some beers, had some little bit of food before I headed to the concert, and they serve poutine there.
Yep.
Poutine is fantastic. Once it finally made its way south into the U.S. And his wife, being Canadian, were like, "Oh, you must be a big fan of poutine." She said, "No, actually, I hate it." And we're like, "What? What?" And of course, we jerk Americans that we are, we had to start grilling her about it.
Yep.
And turns out the only time
She is a foreigner.
She is. Welcome to America.
She's only here for the green card. we should tell our coworker.
Yeah, indeed. But
Purposely leaving his name out of this, but he'll know who he is.
It turns out the only poutine she had was either like fast food poutine or what was served in her school cafeteria.
Oh, that sounds... Well, I'm not a fan of poutine in general, but that sounds even worse.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine, high school French fries with
Covered
high
in
school gravy and high school probably not even actual cheese curds. So we order a few, like our table ordered a round of poutine, and like we forced her to try it because again we're jerk Americans. But her reaction was like, "This is delightful." We're like, "You see?"
How is this not something you were born with in your hand?
But because again, the only poutine she had was from a school cafeteria, which.
All right, we should probably move on.
Yeah, probably. We're at like the 30-minute mark already.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, of course, Ubisoft's big mention and show closer.
Here's the one thing I was disappointed in. The one thing is that we're going to ancient Greece. And we spent 3 games with Ezio from Rome.
Yep.
Or, excuse me, Ezio Auditore de Firenze. So, Florence. But still, Renaissance Italy. Even though he went to Istanbul for one of those. But it's just, I had such a good time in Origins.
Origins was fantastic.
It's
one of my 3 platinum trophies.
They did the right move in taking a year off from the annualization of the series, completely rebooted it, and we go to a history of a period of time where it's not white people. And I try to avoid politics on this podcast, but it was refreshing to walk through and learn about a history that was not my own.
Assassin's Creed Origins was great. Honestly, the best part about it for me, other than the advancement from the previous Assassin's Creed games in basically every way, was like the 2 to 3 year break.
Yes. It needed it.
Yes.
There was a time where I was keeping up with the annualization of it all, and you could see where ideas that they probably should have let go of carried on for an additional year because, well, when you're working on multiple games at the same time, you can't be agile enough to make those corrections.
That's my concern with Odyssey. It's going to sell millions of copies. It's going to make them money.
Yes.
I'm sure it'll be fun to play.
No question.
But when they introduced it, they're like, we're excited to announce something we've been working on for 3 years. And if you think about it, Origins came out, I just pulled it up on my phone, literally less than a year ago.
Jeez.
October 2017. This game's coming out October or November 2018. So clearly they were both in development at the same time.
At the same time.
Both in production at the same time. I'm like, how does that give you a chance to improve?
It doesn't.
From what, gamers have to say about Origins or anything like that.
I mean, you can make some last minute tweaks. But you can't make any fundamental changes. You can make tweaks. That's about it, though.
That means they have whatever's next in the pipeline.
Oh, yeah, it's already
possibly
in
production. And since we're talking about it, there was Assassin's Creed Origins. This one's going to be Odyssey. I have some words to suggest.
Okay, so quick break real quick.
Quick break, because I want to try to predict the name of the next Assassin's Creed. Because if they're literally going to put one out every year.
Yes.
And the last 2 started with O words.
Okay, we're going to continue on. So possible names for Ubisoft to use for the next Assassin's Creed.
Yes. And
that begin with O.
Bookmark this. I don't know if you can bookmark this, because I'm predicting the future right here.
Right. Let's hear it.
There's omnidirectional. Some of these just won't make sense.
It doesn't matter, though.
Really, the first O words that came to my mind. Oxidize, Assassin's Creed Oxidize. That kind of sounds cool.
Keep those blades clean.
Assassin's Creed Oblique. I don't know. It's not like I understand half the storylines going on anyway. Assassin's Creed Outback. Maybe they go to Australia.
That would be interesting.
That could. Optimum. Assassin's Creed Optimum.
Sure.
Assassin's Creed Occupy. They seem to take over a lot.
Well, and they are very political, yeah.
Assassin's Creed Oxford. They could go to the university in Europe there, in England.
Well, we already had Syndicate.
You're really raining on my parade.
That's what I do.
Okay. Assassin's Creed Occult. Ooh, an evil one. That could be interesting.
Sure.
Assassin's Creed Oblong.
That might take a while to get around to.
I like what you did there. Wordplay. That's good.
Right.
Assassin's Creed Oblige, where they're just friendly assassins.
So Assassin's
I'm like,
Creed Canada.
how many more ideas? Yeah, Assassin's Creed Canada. There we go. I mean, how many more ideas can they really have?
All right.
An Assassin's Creed Oculus. I don't know. I saw an article about Oculus. I'm like, hey, that starts with O.
Yes.
But if the next Assassin's Creed games turns out to be named after one of those,
You can thank
I want
us.
credit.
Yes.
I won't
Also,
get royalties, but
Assassin's Creed Ocelot.
ooh, Ocelot. He walks around with a pet Ocelot the whole time.
Right, that's your familiar or your spirit animal.
Yes.
As opposed to Senu, the eagle. You now have an Ocelot. And also, how about Assassin's Creed Oncology? And you say that the Templars are cancer on society.
Ooh, interesting. More wordplay. I like it. Here, let's move on.
Okay, but first, I need to try to sell you something.
Okay.
A quick little Audible interlude. So for you, the listeners of Video Game Crosstalk, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. All you have to do is go to audibletrial.com/VGXTpod and sign up for your free trial and download one of over 180,000 titles, such as The Warrior Prophet by R. Scott Bakker.
Look at you selling stuff.
Hey, I'm trying to. This is a way to support the podcast because this all takes money. Web hosting, not really. Web hosting.
No, it does.
Proper editing software, proper microphones, and pretty much anything. Additionally, going to
Drinking
Comic-Cons.
money.
Well, drinking money, yes. But getting a vendor table at Comic-Cons,
Which is always a great time.
which is a great time, but does cost money.
It does.
Printing business cards and other little handouts and whatnot. This all costs money. So if you go to audibletrial.com/VGXDpod, sign up for that. That is a free way for you to support the podcast. And you can cancel at any time that you want.
And I'll be checking out.
Excellent.
Checking it out.
Sure. That too. So, moving on. Sony. You want
Yes.
to do Sony last? Because
We'll save it for last.
Okay.
What do you got that we can just burn through?
Because I've recently switched over to the PlayStation side, and I am loving it ever since I did.
Welcome.
Really quick, tell you what, we'll go from the bottom back up.
Okay, these are your notes.
Okay. Square Enix.
Yes. I was slightly disappointed with Square's
They didn't have much.
presentation. They really didn't have a lot. I mean, Shadow of the Tomb Raider actually looked fantastic, but it reminded me of the last Uncharted game with the two female leads,
Okay.
which
But-
was a great game.
But, I mean, they have gone gritty with Tomb Raider.
They really have.
They have darkened that series
They did
quite a bit, and it
I
looks
was-
awesome.
It looks like I would enjoy it more now than I would have back then. I never was a big Tomb Raider fan, really. I never really got into it. But after watching the new trailer, I'm thinking of checking out the Shadow of the Tomb Raider that's coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Of course, there was the Final Fantasy XIV expansions, which I don't play.
Which are MMOs,
Yeah.
and as I've mentioned many a times, Destiny is my MMO, quasi-MMO.
I'm a big
choice right
Final
now.
Fantasy fan, but I never got into 14 and the MMO aspect.
I've got some friends who that is their jam. Actually, if you go back to Jessica Leary's episode, Coffee Rules Everything Around Me, she openly admits that not only does she pay the additional subscription fee for Final Fantasy XIV, but she pays extra, so she has more storage space because she's a crafter. Mm-hmm. And her and a few other people they've done some gaming with, they pretty much say, yeah, this new expansion is coming out, so I'm going to disappear.
I think, yeah. And I think the centerpiece of Square's conference really was Kingdom Hearts 3.
Which, my God, has been in development for
what,
so
a decade?
long. When I got into blogging again, God, was that 2010? 2011. It's been a long time. We finally have a release date for it. It's January, right?
Was it January or February? I don't remember. But it's certainly early 2019. It was January or February.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, it's already been pushed back several times.
I would know it more if I never got into Kingdom Hearts. I tried it out. I couldn't really get into it.
I played the first one 15-something years ago.
And they've
I
released so
thoroughly
many
enjoyed
different versions of 1 and 2. I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't
like
even care.
1.2, 1.5, 2.8.
It's like 2.8 HD, and I'm like, whatever. But honestly, the most exciting part of Square's conference for me was this new game they announced, Babylon's Fall. That looked pretty interesting.
That looks amazing.
Not entirely sure what it's about, but
Again,
their
it was
trailer
just a
certainly had
teaser.
me intrigued. Yeah.
Yeah, just a teaser.
There's Octopath Traveler, which you won't care about because it's coming out on the Switch.
Yep. Okay. Well,
But
so be
Square
it.
did say they wanted to make a point of trying to come out with more Switch original content, which
Good.
I am all for.
That is great for Nintendo.
Nintendo's really picked it up, man.
Yeah, they finally have a console that can handle stuff.
Yeah. And they got a console people want to design for.
Yes, that can actually handle, something more than just, Mii's.
And Square announced Just Cause 4, which looks like, I'm just going to
More
call it
chaos.
like more a mindless chaos game. But let me put it this way. When I went back to look at the E3 sale in the PlayStation Store, Just Cause 3 was on sale for like $4.50. Boom.
Sold.
That's perfect amount of money I want to spend on mindless entertainment.
That's right. Yeah, that's appropriate. So speaking of Nintendo, a lot of their stuff focused on Smash Brothers.
Which you knew that was coming from
Yeah.
a while ago, which is fantastic.
And again, sadly, I do not have a Switch.
So I'm going to take
So
over
this
the
is all.
Nintendo part.
Yep. It's all you, bro.
I really enjoyed. I briefly had a Wii U.
Yeah, Stephanie has a Wii, and like we played some of like the Wii Sports stuff.
Yeah,
with that
I never
stuff.
actually bought a Wii. I had a Wii U briefly, but before that, I think the last Nintendo system I had was GameCube. Smash Brothers is great. It's fun. Like a lot of Nintendo games, it's great if you have people to play with.
Yes.
Like they announced Mario Party, the next Mario Party as well. Those games are awesome
If you have someone to play with.
if you have people to play with. What's impressive about this Smash Brothers surely is just the amount of characters they have in it. It's a brand new game with every character that they've ever had in a game. Snake from Metal Gear Solid. Thank you.
There we go.
It's just watching him hide under a box is hilarious.
Right.
But there was the three different links. I'm like, maybe we're getting a little extensive here in what qualifies. But
We're bringing well, that's the thing. Like they're bringing everyone.
yeah,
They're bringing the whole crew, and then they're introducing additional characters and echo characters, which I guess is, if they're close enough to begin with, they kind of do a variant on a theme.
yep. Honestly, I'm behind on my Nintendo Switch games because I've mainly been going back and forth between my PS4 and stuff I've downloaded for that, and my little mini Super Nintendo that I've been playing.
Oh man, that was hysterical when you got this little mini Super Nintendo.
I am still pumped up about it.
There are a bunch of games out there. The mini SNES is basically the best of the Super Nintendo era.
Yep.
The only differences would be your
What
personal
about-
preferences.
Yeah, and so far I've cranked out Super Mario RPG, which was delightfully wonderful.
It was great.
And Final Fantasy III, one of the greatest games of all time.
It really is, though.
I mean, I jumped into this series at 7, so, and we've talked about this many times before.
Yeah.
Basically, where you jump into the Final Fantasy series usually ends up being your favorite of the
Right.
series.
Between 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, and, well, 6 or 3/6.
Yes, 3/6.
We are in America.
America.
America. But, I mean, 3 was fantastic, or if you want to call it 6, that's fine. 7 is still my favorite because that's where I jumped in.
Right.
And I understand that even more now.
I mean, it's still a great game. There's no question about that.
Oh, no, it was wonderful. I still put in almost 60 hours on it. For a Super Nintendo game, that's ridiculous.
Huge. That is huge. But I just love that you would give me
and now that I
periodic
think about
updates.
it, yes.
You give me periodic updates.
I'd come over to
Go
you
ahead,
in
go
the
ahead.
office and tell you, yeah, I'm at this point, and then you'd come back telling me I need to do this, 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 and this. Literally in that order. You knew when it was still coming. This game's 27 years old.
Let me tell you what you're going to run into. Make
And
sure
honestly,
you use
the
this.
biggest part of the nostalgia for me, I think, was maybe just having a 4-button controller. I'm like, this is so nice, not having to worry about like 8 buttons and
Yeah.
a touchpad.
I mean, you still had the bumpers up top,
Yeah.
but that was before we even
Those-
had names of bumpers.
The L and R buttons on the top of the controller were not used in that game.
Then you did not use Saban enough.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't. You got 13, 14 characters. It's hard to keep track of everybody.
Yeah, his mantras definitely used the RL a few times.
Okay.
Or his blitzes, excuse
Yeah.
me. Anyway, yeah, again, going back 27 years. Apparently,
Yeah.
I still have this entire game memorized.
And of course, they also talked about some Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC stuff.
Yep.
I still got to go back and play Xenogears 2 or Xenoblade 2. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, Xenoblade looks like
Honestly,
an
I'm just
amazing
waiting for it
series.
to go on sale, which Nintendo games don't usually go on sale a whole lot.
Not really.
No.
Not really. All right. So Nintendo's doing
We'll
good.
mostly skip Microsoft.
And they released so many games.
Well,
But we-
what
both
were their actual originals? There was Halo Infinite. There was Gears of War 5.
Okay. So Halo Infinite just looks like a nondescript Halo game.
Yeah, and
I'm sure it's going to be amazing, but
for
it's,
Microsoft, all of their first persons just blend together for me.
yeah, after a while, Halo is just Halo with different
Yeah.
backgrounds. Ori and the Will of the Wisp
Don't remember that one.
looks beautiful.
I see the next game you have listed there, though, that I want to talk about.
Oh, Sekiro. Do it up.
Shadows Die Twice. This was introduced during Microsoft's conference. Of course, it's not a Microsoft exclusive, thank God. Because nothing really is.
Not really.
No.
Launch exclusive.
My only beef was I remember back at the Game Awards back in December, they did From Software, who makes this game, did a quick 20-second preview with just like an arm, just the bones of an arm switching to like a blade at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone thought it was Bloodborne 2. I thought it was Bloodborne 2. I was so pumped up.
And they're like,
And then
not Bloodborne 2.
Not Bloodborne 2. Like, son of a... And then the more I watched the preview, I'm like, you know what? This looks pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, well, it is from the developers of Dark Souls, so
It's...
the vein is there.
I'm curious to see how they take that Dark Souls and Bloodborne mentality and apply it to the samurai setting that they have now.
It's going to be brutal.
It is. It's going to be brutal.
It's going to be so brutal.
I don't know if they're still going to... For the love of God, I don't understand why taking a pause screen out of a game is so important to them.
Because it makes it that much more difficult.
No, it doesn't.
You get no rest.
I just need just put in a freaking pause screen. I mean, come on.
So, expanding on the world of Life is Strange, which if you're into like the Telltale story games,
The Adventures of Captain Spirit? Was it?
Adventures of Captain Spirit. So when I was recapping everything, I saw the notes here. I'm like, Adventure? That sounds stupid. But you watch the trailer for it, and it makes perfect sense.
I didn't play the first Life is Strange. Is 2 out yet, or is it coming out? I don't remember.
I believe it is. And I did play like the first few chapters of Life is Strange. Again, 1-year-old, so my time is kind of tapped.
Yeah.
Shall we say? But this takes place in the same universe, so that's awesome.
Yep.
And it follows a kid and his imagination.
It looked pretty interesting. I'll give him that for sure.
It is going to be gut punching you in the feels, I am sure. I don't know what tragedy is going to befall this kid, but something will. Based on the trailer, his mother must have passed away, and he's now living with his dad, who apparently has a drinking problem. Because you do hear him say, "You're drinking already, Dad?" And his dad's reply is, "I don't need to be lectured by a 14 or 12-year-old or something like that."
Isn't that what kids drive their dads to do?
Well, we're getting there.
I mean, you're here on an afternoon.
Doing some day drinking
Yes.
there. But it looks like it's going to be amazing. Crackdown 3 is Crackdown 3.
Yep.
It is everything you expect it to be. Metro Exodus. Oh, I wish I got into the Metro games.
I don't really know anything about them. The trailer looks good, but I don't have an Xbox or anything, so
Right.
I don't pay much attention to basically their whole presentation.
Right. So, we're going to skip down a little bit. We Happy Few looks very... If you like story-driven games,
Yep.
this is going to be for you.
Okay.
Definitely a dystopia along the lines of, like, I think it's called A Brave New World, the book. I can't remember offhand.
Okay.
But you're forced to take drugs to make you happy. And of
Forced,
course,
huh?
everything. Yeah,
Okay.
Actually, yeah, pretty much. Moving on. Black Desert Online, another huge MMO. Looks like it's been PC only. Looks like it's coming to the Xbox.
I wish Cuphead would come to... I see you have Cuphead there.
Yep. A
Wish-
delicious last course.
I wish that would come to PlayStation.
Oh, man.
I mean, Nier Automata is going to Xbox. Why can't Cuphead come to PlayStation?
Hey, let's do it up.
Exactly.
Devil May Cry 5.
It piqued my interest because I've played most of the games, but to the extent that it's more of that mindless, violence-driven, just fun.
When I first picked up my PlayStation, I did pick up Devil May Cry DMC, which apparently is like the black sheep of the entire Devil May Cry series.
I think that's the last one I played.
And, I mean, I enjoyed it, but it started to get...
It gets repetitive.
It gets very repetitive for my style and my taste. Yeah. It's all about how to link up amazing-looking combos, which is entertaining.
That's basically the point of the game, yeah.
But my play style is being, like, somewhat tactical and figuring out something that works and then using that as, like, a method to move through the game.
Yep.
So using the same method over and over again it actually works against you as far as player progression is concerned. Because you get more points or more upgrade, whatever, when you're able to mix up your different styles and get creative with things. Yeah. Like, no, this is how I'm playing my character as.
I think the big one right at the end there.
Oh, yes. CD Projekt Red, quote, hacked, end quote, the Microsoft presentation right at the end, and they gave a full feature-length trailer for Cyberpunk 2077.
Ooh. It looked delightfully delicious.
Oh, this is going to be...
Which I feel like I've already said, but...
Yeah, delightful is a big word of yours.
It is today. I've described all of our beers this way, really.
As delightful. But Cyberpunk, this is my jam. I have not played a proper Cyberpunk game that really scratched that itch since Shadowrun for the SNES.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're going that far back. Deus Ex is very Cyberpunk, and I have enjoyed it thoroughly, but I don't know how to describe it. There's not enough lowlives in it, is basically the way I can describe it. Cyberpunk, you are a lowlife, and there is high-end technology freaking everywhere.
There is.
Yeah, so basically what I needed was like more... I needed more drug use, I needed more vulgarity, I needed more chaos. Deus Ex is a little too controlled to scratch that particular itch.
Deus Ex was fun, but Cyberpunk looks like it's going to take that certainly to the next level.
Oh, yeah.
And way beyond.
Way beyond.
And much respect for CD Projekt Red. If you were smart enough to catch any of that hacking interlude before they started the trailer.
Oh yeah,
there's free codes to download The Witcher 3 on Xbox. Game of the Year editions. 20 codes. I think there were some other Easter eggs mixed in there.
Oh, probably.
Just a cool company that puts out quality shit.
Yeah, and exactly. All right, we need to keep this thing moving.
Move on to Sony. We're getting towards your time limit here.
I'm trying to keep these things close.
There's a lot of...
We're clearly going to go over an hour on this. But, all right, so Sony. Hell of a way to start their presentation.
Nothing's going to... The Sony presentation was good. Entertainment-wise, I mean, they had some good trailers. Overall, I thought entertainment-wise, it was a little boring. The trailers themselves were good. It's a toss-up between Bethesda and Sony for me for what I liked overall presentation-wise better. Sony's presentation last year, the highlight for me was, well, last year Microsoft's big thing was promoting or introducing the Xbox One X. Most powerful machinery ever to grace a video game.
Yes.
Sony,
which it is.
It is. No, I'm not debating that. Yes, it is. It's more powerful than the PlayStation 4 and things like that. But I can't remember the Sony guy's name. He came out last year, and the greatest thing I've ever seen in the history of E3, he basically gave an FU to Microsoft by saying, yeah, that's great, but it's all about the games. And then it was just an hour of awesome game trailers. And to this end, Sony outsells Microsoft every month since, basically.
Yeah, ever since the launch of the Xbox One, Microsoft has been playing catch-up and still losing.
Yeah. But as far as this year's Sony presentation, I was certainly impressed. They had touched on the big four, like you knew and said they were going to do with The Last of Us 2, which they basically, they rebuilt it from Ellie's perspective, combat-wise, story-wise, and everything from what I've been reading.
Yep.
The trailer was just mind-blowing. Well, mind-blowing is strong. It was amazing.
Yeah, so... There's way too much to discuss in that trailer.
Have you finished the first Last of Us yet?
No. I know. What I need to do is put down Destiny 2, which is the next trailer that came in.
It's been I saw a tweet the other day with the 5-year anniversary of The Last of Us. Like, we're beyond spoilers.
Yeah, we're
ruining
well
stuff
beyond
for you now.
Yeah, we're well beyond. That should be expected.
Yes. So if somebody wants to spoil the end of The Last of Us for Anthony, I don't want to be the one to do it, but feel free to go ahead.
Not while you're sitting next to me, anyway.
No. But the other highlight for me was Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, that's going to be so good.
Tsushima, however you want to pronounce it, I guess.
Yeah, Tsushima.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. Like, from the first announcement trailer, like, we knew this is going to be something special. It's coming out, was it Sucker Punch?
Sucker Punch.
Makers of...
Oh, I can't remember the name of the games. They were fun.
Infamous. There it is.
Infamous 2, I thoroughly enjoyed.
Okay. I got into the PlayStation bandwagon a little late, but I did play Second Son.
And my one big prediction going into this E3 was that the Sony presentation would come and go, and I would still not know what the hell Death Stranding was about.
Which is
clear
to everyone.
That proved true.
Yes.
They had like somewhere between like 7-minute trailer for it.
It was a long trailer.
It was literally just a guy, for the most of it, walking with the amount of stuff he's carrying on his back just increasing.
And we just don't know.
Now, there was a few points where it looked like there were some small wheeled robots behind him.
He's got some like clapping antenna.
Yeah,
that's the best way to describe it.
Somehow powered by a baby in a liquid. And an invisible monster.
I'm face palming right now.
Yeah, and what is going on?
No idea.
They did bring up Neo 2, which I played about 2 hours of the first Neo. Like, I can't do it anymore. I can't take it.
A little too punishing.
It's too maybe it's a great game. I find it just too stupid. I hated doing the same thing and over again. I hated not being able to pause it. It's like, It's the same reason I haven't gotten into Dark Souls. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I loved Bloodborne. But I was on the verge of breaking the freaking CD when I first started playing the game, until I finally leveled up some and could play. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Spider-Man, which I am super pumped for, and is coming out in a few months.
If you are a fan of Spider-Man in general, you are going to love this game. There's no question about that. No question. And of course, my current sickness, my current addiction right now.
The Destiny 2 expansion, right?
Forsaken, yes. Arcade 6 gets popped in the head. And
this is all you. I don't know anything about Destiny.
If you know nothing about Destiny, it looks tragic. It looks dark and gritty. But the emotions
the trailer looks pretty cool.
Oh, man. Tempers flaring isn't even the word for it. It's not even the word for it. It's Prince Aldrin who stole the Ace of Spades from K6, shot his ghost, shot him down, and walked away with his fallen baron. And, of course, that's all gibberish to you.
It is.
But
I'm just sitting here drinking my beer now.
But if you have been playing Destiny for any length of time, tempers are flaring right now. Tempers are absolutely flaring.
What else did you want to touch on? I guess.
Well, that pretty much brings us to the end. We
wrapping it up here. We're at the hour mark or so.
Yeah. We'll wrap this up real quick. What's your best of show?
What am I most pumped up for? It's hard to say. It's Elder Scrolls 6, considering they only had a 20-second clip of flying over mounds.
Just the 20-second.
And it's not even really.
Clip.
That was enough to get me a little excited.
Excellent.
But as far as playable games coming out in the near future, probably Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
Tsushima. Or Spider-Man.
So you have multiple for your game of show. Okay. For me, Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk. Yes.
Absolutely Cyberpunk.
Which I think they might be the ones that take home the game of the show, I think. I forgot to look it up.
I wouldn't be surprised. I
not at all.
But
I will certainly be playing it.
It is a hell of a trailer.
It
is.
I can't admit it, and I forgot. It's going to be ridiculously larger than The Witcher 3 was, which is also mind-blowing to begin with.
Right. Oh, man. All right, and that is all the time we have for this episode. Time for end of show plugs. You can follow me, Anthony Rossi, on Twitter, Instagram, PS4, and Twitch at Hypersyntax, HYP3RSINT4X, or you can follow the podcast directly either at Twitter at VGXTPod or on Facebook at Facebook.com/VideoGameCrosstalk, or visit the website. And I really need to rewrite this outro.
Wow, you are burning through this. You had to sitting here next to you. You really took in that breath to try to keep going.
videogamecrosstalk.com. So, as for my friend and my guest,
is it my turn?
Yeah.
All right.
Where can our beautiful listeners follow you around?
You can certainly find Stories from a Bar on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Stories FAB, Stories Fab, which coincidentally just worked out. That was not part of the plan when I named it Stories from a Bar.
Yeah, and once again, it's
quite the handle.
Yeah, it is quite the handle. It's not too hard to handle.
I'm a lot to handle.
And this is actually like part 2, basically.
And this is part 2 of what we've done today.
So if you came over from Stories from a Bar, thank you for hanging out with us.
Go and check, or if you haven't, go and listen to episode 4 of Stories from a Bar.
It is all beer and
dad jokes.
And really, like, I'm serious, that's all it is. Beer and dad jokes.
It was great. It's a fun time. And personally, you can find myself on Twitter at CSOsborne83. And I think that's all I got.
All right. And finally, if you are a gamer or know a gamer that wants to talk some tech and science news, let me know. Do you know of some tech news that you'd like to hear discussed? Do you have any general questions you'd like to hear answered on the show? Send an email to videogamecrosstalk@gmail.com and let me know the deets of what's going down. Please don't forget to like, review, subscribe, and share this podcast all over your social media accounts, and we can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play.
Hey, same thing with Stories from a Bar.
Indeed.
Same places. Share, review, do all that same stuff that he just said.
Because really, rating and posting a review for a podcast, it helps the podcast get known and ranked and shown on other people's feeds and whatnot.
It does.
So, again, it's another way. It costs 0 cents or dollars.
No,
or
and if you don't do it, you're just
using.
lazy.
So give us a like, review, and all that fun stuff.
And a final shout out to Fort Orange Brewing here.
Indeed, for letting us hang out for so long, just jibber jabbering into microphones. And their delicious, delicious beers.
Again, it's been delightful.
Oh, man. So, closing this up, in the words of Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, yes.
Meals make the society, hold the fabric together in lots of ways that were charming and interesting and intoxicating to me. The perfect meal, or the best meals, occur in a context that frequently has very little to do with the food itself.
R.I.P.